Hi guys, I'm Hedge and I'm about to interview Sonali Hedge. Sonali Hedge is a Montessori teacher for preschool and kindergartners. What Montessori learning is essentially allowing kids to learn by activities and whatever the kid wants compared to a classroom kind of learning environment where kids sit at the desk and they're kind of told what to do and what to learn. This is super interesting to me because number one, I think teachers are a very underappreciated role. And also when I'm older, I would like to be a teacher, so I think I'm going to learn a lot from this interview, and I hope you guys do too. So enjoy, and let's get into it. Alright, so first off, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. To start the interview off, what does someone who is a Montessori teacher do?
A Montessori teacher teaches, and it's the different levels. Should I look?
You can look anywhere, yeah.
So the Montessori teacher, there's early childhood education. That's what I did. So my training was from preschool through kindergarten, but the Montessori goes all the way to high school. So a Montessori teacher gets trained. So there's like a training, 1-year training certificate for early childhood, and if you're doing elementary, then it's a 2-year program. And while you're getting trained, you need to do an internship. That's where you get your hands-on practical experience.
Mm-hmm. And just to give context, so Montessori learning is it's more free, it's more like the kid kind of chooses activities, correct?
Yeah. So what you do is you follow a child, you do have a curriculum, you have things that you want to give them for stimulus, but it's not one size fits all. So there are 20 kids in the classroom, varied age group, it's always multi-age. So the kids in my class were like from 2.5 to 6 years. So you couldn't give the same thing to all of them. So it's you have a lesson plan for them, and you kind of watch where they are, see what their learning styles are, because some kids are spatial learners, some kids are visual learners. So you kind of have to observe them initially. So the first month would be more establishing ground rules, making sure they are understanding what's right from wrong, and get them comfortable, because till they are comfortable they will not learn. So, and then you let them choose what they want to do, but you give them lessons and then they repeat them.
Oh, okay, yeah. So tell me a bit about how you ended up as in this position. So what was your educational path, professional path?
I have a degree in journalism, psychology and English literature. So it was very different, and I tried blogging and writing and doing stuff, but when Alicia, both of them went to Montessori school, so what I saw and how they turned out, I liked it. I liked that it was very individualized, they're very confident about what they want to do, so it's not just teaching them reading, writing, math, it was more of the whole child. So I was like, oh, let me look at it. So, and fortunately I had a friend who worked in a school, and I asked her about it, and there was an opening there as an assistant teacher. And this was like in February, March, and the training that I was planning to do started in June. So I did like an assistant teacher position for 3 months, so I got to know what it was even before I did the course. So
that's so nice. Yeah, I also went to a Montessori school. I miss those days.
Yeah. So the Montessori, my reading, my writing, my mass communication, everything helped, because it's all psychology, it's all connected. So it definitely helped in this as well.
Brings me to my next question. So what in your education professional background kind of helped to work?
Psychology and communication, because it's not, you're dealing with the child and you're learning. Psychology was learning about different styles, developmentally seeing where they are, so that helped me. Dealing with parents is harder than dealing with kids, so my expertise in communication helped, like figuring out how to talk to them. And then of course I did a lot of courses, did a lot of reading, so that helped as well.
Oh, that's actually really nice.
Yeah.
So you kind of talked about this, but why did you really choose to work in this career, be a teacher, compared to how different your degrees were? Why did you choose this?
When I saw my kids in a school, and I kind of used to volunteer there, sub there, so I liked it. I liked what they did, so that's why I decided to do it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what does a normal day look like in this job?
As a teacher, I don't teach anymore. We can get that later. As a teacher, the normal day is being there, making sure the classroom is ready for the kids. Even before we leave for the day, end of the day is making sure it's spick and span, and everything is in the right place. Like the pencils everything in the classroom has to be precisely in that place, because the kids get really confused if they come in and the things are not where they are. So they're like creatures of habit. So they're trained to do something, they'll do it exactly like that. So making sure before you leave, everything is ready, lesson plans are ready. So when you go back in the morning, setting it up, and it's called a prepared environment, making sure the environment is ready for the children. So that's the morning, and then the kids come in and receiving them and getting them to giving them lessons, getting the day planned.
Yeah.
And beginning of the year is exhausting because it's tiring to deal with 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
But
So
it's very rewarding as well.
that's
Yeah.
that's good. So what does like a bad day look like? You know, because I know there's like the aspect of little kids and
Mhm.
also like parents have
Mhm.
their own thing. So what does like a bad day look like?
Bad day would be a kid having a tantrum, or having a potty accident, which is not unusual, but it doesn't happen often. Um, I had a really crappy assistant one time, so she would come in grumpy at times. So there were times when I had to tell her to step outside because I didn't want the kids, because kids soak whatever they see. So I would tell her, please step outside, take a deep breath, come back in when you're ready, because you can't be in the classroom when you're grumpy. Because she would be unhappy about something and she would come and get it out on the children. So that probably would be for me. Dealing with kids is super easy. Not super easy, but they're kids, so
Yeah.
you know what to do with them. But dealing with grown-ups can be tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what does like a good day look like?
Good day would be the kids settled in, it's a peaceful classroom, everything's going well, perfect days, and that happens as well.
How often are the good days compared to the
After
bad
like the
days?
school year starts in September, so September is kind of getting them in the groove, and that's the reason the whole of September you're telling them what to do. You're setting the ground rules, giving them lots of lessons which they're ready to do, and you're kind of moving them on. So January there are times when you just stand back and watch them, because it's like they're in autopilot, because they've had those lessons. They come back from a break, and usually after every break they're really calm and they want to do stuff. So that would be a ideal case scenario.
That's nice. So, kind of like when you're hiring someone or you're looking for an assistant, are you looking for someone with like specific knowledge, like how you have with psychology, or are you looking for like a certain personality trait, like, or is it like a combination? Like, what exactly?
It's a combination. Having the education definitely helps, but what really helps is for them to be having the love for children and being flexible, going with the flow and kind of taking each day as it comes. And usually it's a team of 2 or 3 people. So when I hire somebody, I make sure their personalities match as well. So if there's a teacher who's very reserved, very quiet, very inward, then I would hire somebody who's a little more bubbly, because the kids need a balance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if both are very blah, then it's kind of boring. And same way, if both are hyper energy, then it's too much for the kids to handle.
Yeah.
So I would think personalities, education, it's a vibe. You can just feel it.
Yeah.
You ask them the right amount of questions, but it's usually you can tell. There are times when
Yeah, the
it
energy.
hasn't worked out, and we had to have a teacher leave because it just didn't work out. She was unhappy all the time, and
No.
so I know that's the hard. That I would say also is a hard day in my current position.
Yeah. So, what is your current position?
Current position, I'm a program supervisor. So
Okay.
what I do is I overview the whole school, making sure all the classes are functioning right academically, like curriculum. They're following the. There's a lot of regulation, like the state regulation, the county regulation,
Yeah.
and now with COVID, we had COVID regulation. So making sure they're all followed. There's a head of school who does the business part and the whole school as a whole. I do the individual classrooms,
Okay.
making sure the teachers are happy. If they need any support, I'm there. If there are any problem children with learning difficulties or on the spectrum or whatever, they want me to come and observe them. So I would go step in and give them the right tools
Yeah.
to
So,
do that.
When
Yeah.
COVID, one second, maybe. Yeah. Okay. So when COVID hit, how did that like impact classrooms? Because I feel like it's a bunch of kids. They're not gonna have their mask on properly. They're gonna be touching things. How is that?
Um, right after COVID hit, we went online within a week. So that was probably one of the hardest things that happened, because for everybody in the all over the world people did that. So that was, I thought that was hard because we were doing lessons and doing them constantly, and parents would be around them. So it was more like you have to be really, really careful what you say and how you do things because parents are always there. So that was kind of tricky. But the first year after the kids came back, it was we sanitized everything they touched. So there was like, they did wear the mask. Everybody wore masks. There were kids who would eat them, but we would always have extras. Have parents have extras. We had disposable ones when they were available. First year they were not.
Yeah.
So they would have enough like extra ones in their backpacks, extra one in their lunchbox. We had like enough, making sure they had enough masks.
Yeah.
So they wore them, and we had to distance them. If they're having lunch together, we had a divider to separate them because that's when they took their masks off. So it happened though. Now it's hard to believe how we did it, but it happened, and nobody felt sick.
That is really
Yeah,
good. That's
yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
So what kind of makes someone like successful, or in better words, like what makes a good like teacher, especially in a Montessori learning environment?
The right training, the right attitude, and the love for growing every day. Like if a teacher says, I know it all, then that's, I think, the end of the teacher's, not career, but you can't switch it off because every day you learn. You could be teaching for 15 years, 10 years, but every day you learn. I taught for like 15 years, but if I saw some new idea, I would do it. And if you see a child is interested in something, then you do it. There was a kid once who loved cars, so I had an assistant who kind of helped me prepare something for that child because did some like car matching and activities that to kind of grip him in there. So it's learning every single day.
That is so nice. Wow. So who do you kind of have to work with? So at like when you were a teacher and also as the program supervisor. So who do you have to work with to kind of get your job done?
As a teacher, I had to work with the assistant. That was the number one. So having the right rapport, making sure the assistant understood what I wanted from him or her. That was really important. And having those signals across the classroom, because if I'm in Montessori classroom, you sit down and you give individual lessons. So if I'm sitting down giving a lesson and I see a kid doing something there, the assistant may not see it. So having that right sign language or contact as in go there right now because I can't get up and reach there. So having those cues, having a good relationship with the assistant was important. Having the right support from the administration was very important because there's sometimes difficult parents. So if the administration is not on your side, then it's hard. But fortunately for me, that was really good. I worked in 2 or 3 schools, and everywhere there was, like, they always backed you. So that was kind of a nice thing.
That's nice, yeah. So more for like the fun questions. So what superpower do you wish you had to kind of help with this kind of like as a teacher? Or like what superhero do you think would like ace this kind of job?
Superpower would be eyes at the back of my head because then I could see what is happening around me.
Yeah.
And just having the superhero, I can't think of a superhero right now. Somebody who can be at multiple places at the same time. That would be awesome.
Like Flash?
Like transporting, yeah, like Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. And then lastly, what advice would you give to a high schooler or a college student who's interested in this kind of career?
First, even before you consider getting into it, see if you can get a job as a assistant or a aide or something in a school and do that for a few months and see whether you really like it. Because you may think you like it, but dealing with kids every day, if that's not your thing, then it won't work.
So, you mentioned like the training so does a assistant have to go to the training? No.
There is an assistant training, which is a short one, but there are schools who would hire and train as well. Like our school don't require it, but I train them.
Yeah.
I tell them what we require from them. So ideally would be if they can get any kind of child experience in a child setting, so to know whether that's something they want to do. And then the training helps.
Okay.
And then consider doing the training.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for answering all my questions.
Did you get what you needed?
Yeah, no, this also helped because I'm interested in being a teacher one day.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
So yeah, thank you so much.
You are welcome.